5-game rule of postseason awards now has kind of been changed. Luka Doncic, Cade Cunningham will be eligible for NBA awards after the NBA and union agreed both would be allowed to bypass the 65 threshold for eligibility. While Luka and Cade had the rule waived, Anthony Edwards filed a petition to an arbitrator to become eligible himself and was denied. Edwards' agent released the following statement about that decision. He said, quote, "For me personally, I'm a bit confused at the clemency for Cade, who missed time for something that happened on the court, and not Ant, who missed time for an infection. But ultimately, you already know Ant isn't tripping over it at all. He was mad he didn't get to 65, but not because he missed out on awards. He was mad because it meant he didn't get to play in all 82, which is what he always tries to do for his teammates and his fans. You know, the only thing he wants is a ring," end quote. So, is the decision that was handed down by Luka for Luka and Cade, and now ultimately Anthony Edwards, is it fair, Stephen A?
I think it's fair, me personally. And let me say this about Ant-Man and stuff like that. That's not the only thing he wants. Ant-Man's coming for it all. He wants a league MVP. He wants championships. He wants it all. And damn it, he's going to deserve it because he's one of my favorite top 2 players to watch. I love him to death. I just truly do. Having said that, here's what I love about it, Big Perk. Cade Cunningham had the partially collapsed lung. Mm-hmm. All right? Luka Doncic, clearly the hamstring injury is something that has plagued him. We know it's not. It's a legit injury. I love the fact that this has been probed, that it was looked into, and the NBA made alterations to it. That's what I love. I think in concert with the Players Association, if I remember correctly. My point is, those things are important. Rather than having hard and fast rules that you can't modify under any circumstances, I like the fact that, you know what, you can look at the situation and say, listen, the reason that the original rule was put into place to begin with is because of load management, how it was being abused, and how dudes weren't prioritizing fulfilling their responsibility, and teams weren't prioritizing fulfilling their responsibility for players to be available out on the court playing. But when you can't help it because of a legitimate injury, I don't really have a problem with them looking at those circumstances and saying, hey, you know what, we don't mind. And in the Luka Doncic case, I think there was a game or two that he missed because he went to see, to witness the birth of his child. And obviously the Lakers were fine with that. The league was fine with that. Stuff like that are obviously mitigating circumstances. I don't have any problem with that. I like the fact that they're open-minded enough to make adjustments, but still there's a hard and fast rule. There's a hard rule in place, rather, that says, excuse me, this is not what we're trying to give you credit for. I like that.
This rule is not going to work. And y'all know how I feel about Adam Silver. Like, I got great love, great appreciation for him, but it is unfair. Like, the Luka part, going to the birth of, the birth of your child, I understand. The Cade part of it, they said it was a non-basketball related injury. It happened on the floor.
It happened on the floor, yeah.
It happened on the floor. So if you're Anthony Edwards, you hotter than fish grease right now, because you're saying, hold on, so you're going to grant him and tell Cade he's eligible, but in the same breath tell me I'm not? That's not okay. And it's bigger than just Anthony Edwards playing 82 games or him coming for it all. When they talk, look, when this rule is in place and you see guys like this, they going to appeal it and stuff, it's not about the MVP. It's not about Defensive Player of the Year. It's about the all-NBA teams. You know why? Because it affects their lettuce, their bread. And so when I'm looking at it and I'm saying, well, you can't do Anthony Edwards like this and you grant Cade Cunningham, it's just unfair. And this rule is not going to
So what are you saying? Get rid of it altogether or modify it?
You got to fix it. And you got to be fair. Because if I'm Anthony Edwards, there's no way I'm not pissed off.
Well, listen, he should be ticked off. And I was just talking about Cade Cunningham and obviously Luka Doncic. I wasn't even alluding to Ant-Man. But the bottom line is that he was ill. That was a legitimate illness and what have you. And I don't think they have to change anything. They just have to be – you have to be fair, as you would say. Yeah. Anthony Edwards he should have been eligible as well, based on this, period.
I mean, Shay, they said that the injury of Cade was non-basketball related. It happened on the basketball.
Yes. I think, and I don't know, I think the difference was Luka and Cade were 1 game away, where Anthony Edwards was, I believe, 4 games away. That's not a huge difference, but it is some, right? It is some bit of a difference.
Yeah, but what Perk is saying is they're saying that if you're going to say Cade Cunningham was a non-basketball thing, that doesn't make any sense when we saw it happen on the basketball court. If you're willing to make modifications based on something that clearly happened on the basketball court while saying that, it didn't happen, it was a non-basketball injury, that makes no sense. We all saw when the injury occurred. It was during a game. It's when it happened. You understand? As he was going for a loose ball and he collided with an opponent. In Ant-Man's case, you're ill and what have you. So you can sit up there and say that's a non-issue. That's a non-court issue when it clearly was, and that's your excuse for making modifications. But you don't do that with Ant-Man. That doesn't seem to make any sense.
I mean, I agree. I don't think that makes any sense either. But to me, it just did he go through a different process? Like at some point, I feel like, or maybe, and again, I'm kind of playing devil's advocate here. Maybe the point is, and you can see the game. So so it was 4 games different for Anthony Edwards, and it was a 1-game difference for Cunningham and Doncic. But at some point, maybe we got to plan for this kind of stuff ahead of time. Like, we got to understand that there might be some adjustments to this rule at the end of the year if we do have an injury or a baby that comes or whatever it is, and we're going to have to plan for that going forward. I don't know, but now that this has been set as a precedent, the 65-game rule, I agree with you, Perk, might come into effect here. Looks like we have a guest sitting down. His name is Trick Williams. I think Trick is
dedication, baby.
Trick is still getting mic'd up, so we're going to wait a second for him to get all situated, and then he can dive into this conversation with us, you guys. But anyways, the point is, now that this has become a thing where you can appeal the 65-game rule, I don't know that it carries the same amount of weight.
Right, and here's the thing, though. Luka and Anthony Edwards are represented by the same agency, basically. Bill Duffy. And so, again, the process was the same. It's just something that you have to fix. And it comes down when you're talking about all NBA teams. Mm-hmm. And that's the part I hate as a voter. Like, I don't want to be the one to be the decision maker of affecting somebody's pockets.
Right.
That's another thing that I feel like we need to change, because as we have votes, it's a massive difference when a guy making.
Well, let me ask you this question: who do you think should affect somebody's pockets?
What you mean?
I'm saying in terms of like you said, in terms of our votes, and it having an effect on the pockets of a cat because you could or couldn't get an award or whatever. Who do you think should be making that call about affecting the player's pocket? Because I'm here to tell you, I can't trust the players to do it because the objectivity ain't there. So where's the objectivity coming from? I'm not volunteering for it. I'm not saying you should or would. I'm saying somebody got to do it. Somebody got to do it now. Somebody got to look at it objectively and say, yo, this ain't about feelings. This is about facts. And what's the deal? Somebody got to do it. Now, I'm telling you this. I ain't volunteering, but I ain't running from that assignment. If cats go, listen, if you have an obligation to play by the rules, make yourself available to do such and such. I can't trust the players to be objective enough about the players. As well they shouldn't. You gonna always ride with your peeps. You're supposed to. You understand? That ain't our job, but that's theirs.
Right.
Let's bring in Trick Williams. Hi, Trick. How are you?
Live 7 o'clock in the morning. Let's talk about
early in the morning. He's still got his coat. He's ready to go. I know you're tapped into all this as well. And now there's a situation with the 65-game rule.
Right.
Cade and Luka,